Welcome back. We are here with another episode of MITZ TV by BESA San Diego, a mitzvah event specialist association. So today we remind you to like and subscribe to this video on YouTube and check us out online on Instagram or Facebook. Now on with the show. Food. Okay, today the subject is food, and we are going to be joined here at MITZ TV by BESA San Diego with Continental Catering. They have a nice in-depth look to food stations and some of the things that they provide. Take a look.
Good morning, BESA. Welcome to our kitchen and our house. This is Continental Catering, and I know by now a lot of us are getting a little stir-crazy and antsy, so we thought we would give you some tips on a couple of our most popular stations. I'd like to introduce to you our executive chef, Josh Peavey. Chef?
Hello. Welcome.
All right, take it away, Chef.
Awesome. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how to pull mozzarella. We're just going to make a really simple mozzarella, tomato, and pesto dish, which is really fun for stations. Works well on salads and stuff. It just shows a lot of action to the guests. So we're going to get started. So one of the first things I have here is water. It's heavily salted, like they say, as salty as the sea. I've also got triple gloves on. So this water is going to be really, really hot. And as you work the curd, you're going to want to have the triple gloves. Even sometimes thicker, like dishwashing gloves, works really well for this. So, all right, I'm going to get started here. Get a couple glasses out. And we're going to start putting the curd in the water.
Now, are these curds something they can get anywhere?
Actually, there's a few places I know that you can get them retail. One of them is Venissimo Cheese, and another one I believe is Specialty Produce. So you're not usually going to see this at the grocery store, but it is available. And it's basically just a plain curd, and it doesn't have much in the way of flavor to it. That's one of the reasons that we add a lot of salt to the water, because as we start pulling the mozzarella, we're going to want to work the flavor into the curd. So what I'm trying to do right here is to get all the blocks melted down. It takes a little time for the heat to work all the way through, and it helps to kind of use the spoons to bring it together, but eventually you will have to use your hands to pull it and to get it even, to make it kind of one big blob. So now it's all pretty hot. It's all pretty soft, and you can see it starting to form, and what you're looking for is you want to start getting it so you're getting the sheen on the top. And I kind of cheat by keeping a little bit of ice water here to cool my hands down. Woo! And you want to just keep forming it almost like you're making a ball of dough. So it gets nice and smooth. You don't feel any lumps in there, and I can still feel it kind of has some lumps. All right, so now I've got it pretty smooth. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start stretching it. You can kind of see how it's making like strings. Kind of think of string cheese being the same thing. And this is what's going to help it all come together in one nice ball. And even sometimes you'll see this type of cheese twisted up and knotted. Ooh. That's spicy. All right. All right, I'm kind of just folding it back on itself here. And it's got a nice texture to it. And I'm going to start kind of forming it back into one ball. And part of the reason you're stretching it is to get that salt all throughout the curd. Because again, the curd itself is pretty bland, but the salt really helps bring out the milky flavor in it. So I'm kind of working this together right now. You can see it's just silky smooth on the outside. Looks a lot like a nice pizza dough. And from here, you're just gonna pull and take a little piece off, drop it in the glass. And this cheese right now, when it's warm like this, warm and salty, is just the absolute best that the curd can be. All right, and then we're gonna go in here with a little bit of tomato, kind of just making like a basic caprese. All right, top it with a little bit of our pesto. There you go.
Chef, can you pull mozzarella too much?
You can actually. It's very forgiving, so the odds that you're going to do it are pretty slim. But you actually can, if it soaks for too long, it can actually, or if the water's too hot, it can actually start to just completely break down the curd into nothing. Kind of like when chewing gum goes too far.
It's not going to know if I get in here, right? Thanks, Chef.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all she did.
All right, while Chef is making the fabulous station ideas for you, I thought I would tackle a nice summer refreshing drink for you, Italian soda. Now, I know we've all had it on our vacations, but I've had clients tell me it's a little hard to make or they don't know how. It is so simple, so I'm just going to show you. Takes a little bit of club soda, about a third of a glass, a couple tablespoons of your favorite syrup. I chose blackberry. And then this is where the fun creamy part comes in. After you pour that in, you pour half and half in. Just kind of circle it around so it gets that drippy look. And then, of course, the most exciting part. Oops, the cream, a cherry, and the colorful appropriate straw. Italian soda. Now, I will tell you that at my house, we add a little vodka during the club soda time, and it's wonderful. So enjoy and make your Italian sodas. All right, on to my favorite station. Now, it may be because it has brandy in it, maybe not, but these are our flambe donut holes. We do them a lot. Now, with the mitzvah for the kids, you can do it without alcohol, but right now we're gonna show you how to flambe safely and you can have some fun at home. It's real easy and it is definitely a showstopper. All right, Chef, you're on.
All right, let's do it. So we're gonna start with a little butter in the pan. All right, here we go. We're gonna do our boozy donut holes. So we're starting out with a really good amount of butter. Get that kind of melted down. And I'm gonna start loading in the sugar. So this is good for people that are dieting. Kind of let this cream together. No lumps. Toss in our donut holes.
It's important to use glazed and not caked while doing this.
That's true. All right, and just let that caramel go all around the donut holes. And then a little bit of Hennessy. All right, and you can see here it just kind of cooks down into a beautiful caramel made right in the pan. Nice quick pickup.
So Chef, if you're flambeing at home and you get a little bit out of control, what is the best way to manage that fire?
You mean when?
My mom used to say baking soda. Is that a thing?
If it were to fall on your stove, that's something that works. When you're just dealing with the pan here, this is just alcohol. You actually just need to let it burn off.
Okay.
All right, there you go. It's a nice loose caramel, completely coating the donut holes. Nice smell of brandy. And we're gonna serve this right on top of ice cream.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us and have a great day. I'm going in.
I am so hungry. Oh my gosh, we had mozzarella, donuts, butter, sugar. Come on. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on the folks from Continental Catering who are joining us here in the MITZ TV studio. We have Christie Radican, and we also have Chef Josh Peavey here in the flesh, so to speak. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
So great. I love these little tips that you guys gave for some of the food stations that you guys are currently doing. So are these your top food stations, or are these just the fun ones? What do you guys think about these?
I think a little of both. They're very fun, and guests do love them, so we use them often.
Wonderful. So I'm going to chime in with somebody else real quickly. We have Lydia Krasner from MITZ Event Productions. She has a question.
Hi. So I'm interested to know, how do you do the donuts? And do you have the flame going right there? Do you have the pan out? So because it's such an awesome show, is that something that you do in the kitchen and then bring it out in a chafer, or is it an actual show that's going on during the event?
It's in front of everybody on that one. One of the fun things about doing stations is that it's kind of, especially as a chef, this is stuff that we see every day in the kitchen. You know, when you're seeing the flames, you're seeing the hot stuff, you're seeing the chefs working with the pans. A station lets us bring that out to the guest, and people love it. So it's anything that kind of we think is cool as a chef in the kitchen, which is obviously flames and hot stuff and the ooey gooey caramel type thing on the donut holes. That's all stuff that we want people to see. It's stuff that I get to see as a job, in the kitchen, but usually in a restaurant and stuff, you don't see it. So yeah, I mean, it's something that's the part that we want people to see. We want them to see the real kind of visceral act of cooking, that you don't get with something like a buffet. So
that interaction really makes so much more excitement and engages the guests at the party. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. It's a step up too, because it's taking that food station and elevating it. So it's not just food sitting there. We actually have somebody that's actively doing that. And so even in, so this is something that you guys have done in a lot of events up until this point. And I think this is something that you guys can still do if we have to do a station. And if it's a no touch station, you guys have to be behind plexi. It's impressive to see. So I do love that you guys brought this on.
I mean, even more important now, I think stations is going to be.
I think everyone knows it's possible.
Sorry. Got caught up there. Well, I
No,
was just
go for
saying,
it.
I mean, I think that these stations are going to be, it's what we'll be able to do. If we can't do buffets, for us, it lets us control the product a little more. So as opposed to putting food out on a buffet that's maybe sitting there or whatever, this just allows us to be in control of the way the food's processed and held. And I mean, if nothing else, I mean, just to go back to the point, I mean, this is what we love to do. So to be out there in front of a client, especially, I mean, with this stuff with kids, it's kind of cool too. I've done a lot of stuff with high schools and culinary school classes where, you know, kids love to see this stuff. It's something that just a lot of people don't get to see. So yeah, I think this is going to be a big part of what catering is, you know, in the near future, is a lot more station type stuff.
That's really, really insightful to actually think about too, is that, you know, that you guys are bringing things out of the kitchen, and that is so much fun, and it's so different than what other people, because it's not just, like you said, it's not just food that's just sitting out, and then you have that whole situation where you can sit out for 2 hours, and after 30 minutes, sometimes our food stations aren't going to be, you know, manned as well as they are. It's a little bit different now in these times, but still. So going into like for when somebody is actually booking a caterer, what is something that they want to look for first, Christie, when it comes to meeting with a caterer? What is something they want to?
I think you need to check references with the venues, with any of the online outlets. But really, at this point, talk to your caterer and find out what safety protocols they have in place. You know, what have they done to really make sure that you and your guests are safe during service?
Absolutely. So your team over there, so you guys can facilitate more than one event, clearly, with what you guys are doing. And so your bar mitzvahs and mitzvah situation, how many people do you guys usually send out for something, like if we're going to have like 150 people at an event? So
it depends on what style of service, and there are staffing parts that are pretty consistent throughout our industry. If you have a sit down, the front of a house is 1 per 20 guests, buffet 1 per 30, stations 1 per 25, and then whatever we need in the kitchen to ensure the freshness of the food. So that's really, you know, how it's calculated.
absolutely. So, okay, if we are deciding to go with Continental Catering, and that we are going to go forward with a sit-down dinner versus buffet style, what are your tips in that sense of what is more appropriate for a party?
Well, we're going to wait and hear what the governor says is more appropriate at this time. But I think it's really the formality of your group, and really just discussing your timelines and how fast you want service to go, and the general feel that you want. Some people want a buffet, some people want stations, family style. You know, we can do anything. Or they want fun and they want you flambeing. So it's just being really honest, and have a great conversation with your catering representative.
Absolutely. What is like the average amount of like food stations at a normal event, if we're going to be having an event for 250 people? What is the variation of food station, and then how many would you usually say for people to do?
Of course, it depends on budget, but usually 3 to 4. And then additionally, we would have multiple points of service at each station. So that'll ensure no lines and that people get fed promptly.
Absolutely. So Chef Josh, what are your favorite stations to put together? What is the most fun for you?
I mean, the mozzarella one's actually really fun for me, because it was something that I did probably 20 years ago in a restaurant, just making mozzarella. And it's something that you never got to see. You know, nobody knew about it. And when you eat it, when it's hot like that, it's so great. But I mean, just anything where we can sort of show off a little bit, show our skills. I do a lot of cooking classes and a lot of stuff in front of the public, and it's just getting to answer questions. Even if it is a wedding or a mitzvah or something, it's somebody coming by and be, what's that? You know, what's that? What'd you just put in there? Like, I cook at home. What's that? What's that thing you did? I think for me, that's kind of the most fun when I'm up there doing it. Otherwise, it's kind of going back to what I said. It's hitting that point of turning the kitchen inside out, getting to show people things that we do, but also it's just dealing with fun stuff. Like, you know, we're trying to get away from chafing dishes as much. That's kind of the way the industry's going. So we had an idea once for just buying the pedal barbecues, you know, small ones that kind of go on the side of a table. And we use those. So we've done like barbecue sliders, but we do them in the barbecue, you know, and so people are pulling them out of there. So kind of like any way that we can just make things different and fun and make you feel like you're not in a dining hall or something, you know, that you're in a venue or that you're somewhere that kind of fits the theme. I'm at a barbecue. I may be inside, but I feel like I'm, you know, like I'm on a ship, on a cruise, or I'm, you know, one of those things. I think that's probably the most fun and challenging thing that we get to do for these sorts of events, especially.
I completely love that. And I think that's something too, is that, you know, if people go back and watch this video of what we saw earlier, that these are things that they can, it's not just the flambe that can happen out in front of the crowd. It can be the pulling the mozzarella. And I think you brought up a really nice point here, and that would be that when you go to these really nice elevated restaurants, so often right now, that when you walk in, you get to see that one window where you pass by and you get to see the chef and everybody back there. And it's kind of become an entertaining piece. And this is really taking that entertaining piece, and you guys are bringing it right into the ballroom. This can be done in somebody's backyard.
It opens the curtain.
It really does. And it's very much on trend with, you know, not just the fact that we have to do this because of where the world is today and that we need to take these extra protocols, but it also fits the trend of what was happening precursor to the pandemic, that, you know, when you go to New York City and then you go to Vegas and those kind of style places, that you get to see the action that's, you know, the velvet curtain has been pulled. And so it's so much fun to see that. And so it's just really, really interesting that we have something like that here in San Diego, and that this is something that anybody can actually have at their events, which is just so wonderful. So just also looking over here onto some of the other things that we have, that you guys don't just limit yourselves to dinner. You guys do desserts. You guys do all the, you know, hors d'oeuvres. And you guys even do like a drink station, apparently. So you guys full service here with everything that you guys do. So I appreciate you guys so much for coming today onto the show. So today we had Continental Catering, that is Christie Radican, and executive chef Josh Peavey. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want to get a hold of them, please do look at the ticker at the bottom right now. You guys will find their website. Please look for them also via social media. Give them a call. They will be happy to answer your questions. And if you guys have an event coming up, make sure that you guys kind of get into those heads, because they have ideas. Also, you guys can find Continental Catering over on the BessaSanDiego.com website, along with all of our other amazing vendors. Thank you guys so much for joining us again today here on MITZ TV by Bessa San Diego. My name is D'Angelo. This has been a wonderful episode. Thanks so much. Have a great day.